Well, welcome everybody. And we've been talking about meaning and biology. Now, people who are really connected to their physical bodies, they pay attention to the messages that the body sends when things aren't quite working right. But it's interesting that a lot of people in active addiction don't really pay attention to those messages. There was a fellow a year before he came here, actually suffered from a heart attack. And that didn't really slow down his addiction very much. He had the heart attack. As he made sense of it, he had this heart attack, this abnormal situation. The doctors fixed him, and now he's completely back to normal. And he went back, to his drinking at the same level that he'd always done for a year. And it was curious that even when he came to the facility, he still really didn't pay attention. The way he made sense of it was the same. It was this idea that I had this heart attack, this was completely abnormal and an aberration, and then the doctors fixed me, and now I'm pretty much back to normal because, I feel okay. And so he had this plan to go through this strenuous exercise. And this is really curious because he has a tough time accepting the fact that his heart isn't really working as well as it used to, right? And he didn't like this idea because he actually identified himself as this person who could do all sorts of work and shovel out the snow off the driveway and go play a game of hockey and things like that. And so it was almost offensive to him to think that somehow he was less than a man or had this weakness. So it's actually rather curious. And most of the fellows that I've worked with, and not all of them by any stretch of imagination, but those that I've worked with who have, while they've been in treatment, received this diagnosis of HIV, a surprising number then just go on this huge binge. And I'm not sure what that's about, but maybe it's one last hurrah or they're all depressed or anything. But they, rather than, getting into staying in treatment and taking care of the medical issue, taking the medication, all that kind of stuff, they actually go up for a binge. And most of the ones I know actually come back into treatment, but typically like 8 or 9 months later. So again, it's a curious thing that people with addictions really don't pay attention to their bodies, even when their body is sending them these signals like, something's wrong. You better start paying attention to it. And again, it's this idea that if meaning comes from your biology, from your physical self, and you're not paying attention to it, it sort of begs the question of, well, maybe the way you're making sense of things might be a little warped. All right, things to think about. Well, that's it for this episode, and we'll be back next time with another topic on our series on meaning and biology.